Hello and welcome to another episode of Meet the Red Cross. I'm Dave Griffith. I'm the Executive Director for the Harper, Missouri chapter, and I have two guests with me that are going to be on the show today. And the first guest is Kristi Harper, and Kristi is one of our board members, and she's been helping us out with our Lifesaver Awards, and that's what we're going to be talking about in the second half of our show when we have Brittany Buehrlen and Debbie McCoy, who are on the Lifesaver Committee, and Brittany actually is a project manager for it, and Debbie is helping us by chairing the silent auction part of the Lifesaver. So we'll be visiting with them during the second half of our show. But Kristi, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Glad to have you here.
Thanks.
As most people that have been watching this show for the last couple of years, what I'd like to do with most of my guests is really find out a little bit something about you, about where you come from, and we'll get into the part about how you got to be where you're sitting today. But just tell us a little bit about Kristi Gratz Harper.
Yeah, most people know me as Gratz. I was born and raised here in Jefferson City. Bill and Nancy are my parents, so the transition to Harper has, over the last, I guess it's been 7 months now, has been a little interesting. I still, when I call people, say Gratz, now Harper, so that people know and I don't sit through 15 minutes of them not understanding who I am. But been here all my life. I've been at KRCG doing sales for the last 9 years. Just celebrated 9 years there. So started out in insurance sales and ended up in television, which is much more exciting.
And the rest is history.
Yes, pretty much.
Well, I know, and one other question that I like to ask is about what did you know about the Red Cross?
The only thing that I really knew about the American Red Cross before I got on the board was the blood drives. That was really the only connection that I had with the Red Cross. And I've never actually given blood. I don't even think I'm really eligible, but that's all that I knew. I would see them, at the dealerships and stuff when I would, call on some of my car dealers. I would see them doing blood drives there, and it would be associated with the American Red Cross, and that was really all I knew.
And then after coming on the board of directors, it really enlightened you more as to what the Red Cross is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I had no idea that, we helped with fires and we helped with disasters and the tornadoes in Joplin. I had no idea that was, an even bigger arm of the American Red Cross.
And that's part of a lot of what this show is all about, but it's also in part what our board members, and part of their responsibility is to be able to share what the mission of the Red Cross is with their co-workers and to share that with the community at large.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you get involved with the Red Cross?
Well, that's an easy one. It's you. Our relationship, I've been a friend of yours for, I don't know how many years now, probably 15, and you asked me to come on, and so here I am.
And how has that experience been for you?
It's been great. It's been great. It's been nice to, actually know that we are making a difference with how many, I get the reports every week normally from Mike about how many fires we've been at and, everything that we did in Joplin. It's nice and refreshing to know that you're actually doing something that's making a difference.
And Lifesavers was something that you got involved with early on with the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on that. My first year that I served, I was on that. Okay. And again, that's one of those things that it's just nice to recognize those people that are actually making a difference. And, they feel like they're doing their everyday jobs and their everyday duties and something that anybody would do. But a lot of that stuff goes unnoticed. And, with my background and my past, I know that tragedies can happen. And if you don't have the right person there by your side, you might not have tomorrow.
And I think that's probably one of the most comforting things to know about the Red Cross is that during those tragedies and during those times of disaster, that we've got trained volunteers that are there that are providing that emotional support for those folks. And for many of them, they're in shock and just trying to grasp what's just happened to me and where do I go forward from here. And the Red Cross many times is the first person that offers that help.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you hit on a good point there that it's not only the financial support that they need, it's emotional, because a lot of these people's lives are turned upside down and they don't have anything.
And I think a lot of times that we talk about fundraising, and we talk about giving to the Red Cross and how important that is in delivering our mission. But when it all comes down to it, talking about our mission and really what we do in all 5 lines of our service and how those impact people, and we need advocates like yourself and you're the company you work for with the TV station and getting the word out and letting people know how they can help.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, being on the communications committee and actually being the chair of the communications, on the board, I really have tried to get the stations here in the local area, not only KRCG, but the other stations to get that message out, because I think that there's a huge population of people out there that are like myself and think that we only do blood drives.
Well, you bring up, and that's a good segue into what I want to talk with you about next, and that is we've developed on our board of directors, we have a number of standing committees, and one of those committees is the communications committee, and Kristi is the chair of that. And you just took over as chair of that
Yep.
not long ago.
Yep, not long ago.
So tell me what some of your plans are with communications and how perhaps maybe even the viewing public here may be able to help.
Well, I think with communications, one of my biggest goals right now is to get our Facebook page increased in likes. That's a new avenue that everybody's using. Social media is huge right now, and that's one of the areas that I think that we can really make a mark and actually spread that message of what we're doing and show people, we were at this fire today, we were going to this fire tomorrow, or, here we were again tonight, and, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think that that's one of my biggest missions right now. And then obviously, getting some PSAs and all the promos, even for the Lifesaver event, but, getting those in the media, on KRCG and, on the radio stations, and getting you on with Warren, and because we know how big Warren is, Warren and John obviously in this market, but, just getting that word out there, and not just about events, but about general, this is who the Red Cross is.
Well, and establishing those relationships with those media partners is really key to having them work with us. I mean, they know who you are, and using the influence that you've got with them, and that certainly has moved that down the road for us.
Right.
On KRCG, for those people that watch that, and I'm sure that everybody does, but down at the bottom of the screen, you have what's known as a crawler. You might explain what that is and how the TV station uses that particular tool in order to get the word out.
Sure. We actually call it our ticker, and we use it for a lot of the nonprofit organizations that are doing things around town that we just do not simply have enough airtime to get everybody on. So that is one way that we can put, local events for local charities on our airwaves, and people see it. I mean, we're told that they've gotten huge ticket sales and stuff from using the ticker. So I try to make sure that all the American Red Cross events are on there, and as much as I can do. If I can't get an actual promo on the air, I'll at least get it put on the ticker.
And we've got a promo on the air right now.
Yep.
I think for this promoting Lifesaver.
Should be starting here pretty soon for ticket sales for the Lifesaver event. Yes.
Well, and KRCG has been an excellent partner for the American Red Cross, and really in part because of our relationship with you, and getting those 30-second PSAs that back in the day when I worked there at KRCG, we were able to do that. But,
Yep.
But because of inventory now and because of situations, that just is not possible.
Yeah, so many things have changed with our inventory, and just the amount of advertisers that we have on right now. We're pretty tight. So using that ticker for our advantage and for the charity's advantage has been great.
Okay. Now let's talk about Lifesavers, because you helped us out with Lifesavers last year. Mm-hmm. And I think even the year before. So what is? Give me your impression of Lifesaver, and invite the public to come and tell them what your experience has been.
Well, I think Lifesaver is great just because it really gives those people that have made a difference in someone else's life a showing and an award for that. And it's not necessarily about the award, but it's just the recognition that what they did and how they went out of their way is actually being recognized, and people appreciate it. you know, and just that little bit extra could make another difference in somebody's life just by actually showing them how much appreciation they got from that one event. So really what it is you know, different categories of how people have made a difference, whether it's law enforcement or, you know, a youth that's made a difference, a Good Samaritan, and just those people are nominated, and then, you know, then the board picks who they think is the rightful winner, and we recognize those people with, you know, a barbecue dinner, and it's just a short, brief event to show appreciation for those people.
Well, and and I know that virtually every one of them that we talk to, and we'll be talking about that in the next segment as well with Brittany and Debbie. Virtually everyone to the person says that, you know, I did just what I needed to do.
Yep,
And
I do what everybody else would do.
Yeah.
That's what they say. But again,
unfortunately, that doesn't always happen.
exactly.
Okay.
And it's hitting that home that, you know, it truly is appreciated.
Well, Kristi, we've run out of time on this part of the segment, but
Okay.
I appreciate you being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And appreciate you being on the board and
Absolutely.
everything you do, and for being a very good friend of mine.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to be right back. We'll take a short break, and we'll be right back to talk with Brittany Buehrlen and Debbie McCoy about Lifesaver again, and talk about the silent auction. I think they brought some items with them for us to see. So stay with us.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 little piggies ready to play. The big pig is Pedro. Pedro Piggy. He's the big piggy.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at buehrlenlearning.org.
2 o'clock. Okay.
Your employees who serve in the National Guard and Reserve may seem different. They may work a little harder, be more confident, more willing to make the extra effort to get the job done right. So when your employees need time off to serve, remember, it's not just good for our country, it's good for your business.
Glad you could all make it.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.
Welcome back to Meet the Red Cross. I'm Dave Griffith, the Executive Director of the Heart of Missouri Chapter, and joining me for the second half of our show is Brittany Buehrlen, and Brittany is our Volunteer Resource Specialist for the chapter. She's also the Project Manager for Lifesavers. And then also joining me is Debbie McCoy, and Debbie is the Chair of the Auction Committee, and we'll be having a silent auction at our Lifesaver event on June 24th. So, ladies, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Glad to have you here with us. As you've heard, I'd like to find out just a little bit something about you before we get started about talking about Lifesavers, and I know we got a lot to talk about with Lifesavers. So, Debbie, let's start with you and just tell me a little bit about yourself and about how you got here.
I'm a loan officer at Jefferson Bank, and I started with the Red Cross quite a number of years ago and was on the board for a while. Left for a brief period, and I'm back again and happy to be back. And I have chaired now, this is the second year in a row, the silent auction for the Lifesaver events.
Well, and I failed to mention that you came back on the board about a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
About a year ago,
I
and
did.
you had been on the board before.
Yes.
And how long had you served on the board before?
I served probably 3 years on the board previously and was the secretary. So.
Oh, good, good. Well, we're glad to have you back on the board of directors, and I know that Brittany is very happy to have you as part of our the silent auction, and that's something that the event's coming up later on this month, but it's something that you have been working on for some time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have.
Okay.
And
Since the fall.
Right. And we've been collecting items ever since then. We're still collecting them. So.
Well, good. And Brittany, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been with the Red Cross almost 2 years now, 2 years this fall. I am the Volunteer Resource Specialist and the Project Manager for Lifesavers. And we have a great committee, and I'm thrilled to be here and excited for this year's event.
Well, we're glad to have you, and And I will give you just a little bit of additional information that Brittany didn't. Brittany was my administrative, my executive coordinator executive assistant for the first 2 years, and just got her promotion. So I miss her as being my secretary, but you're doing a great job of what you're doing. So
Thank you.
all right, let's dive right into Lifesavers. Brittany, why don't you tell us about when the event is and where it's going to be and all the logistics that go around that?
Sure, yes. Our event this year will be held June 24th. It begins at 5 p.m. and that will be at a new location at the Capital West Christian Event Center. So we're very excited about the new location. It will be indoors, climate controlled, and it's a great venue for this event.
Well, it's always been an issue, and I know when this will be the third Lifesaver Awards that I've done since I've been the executive director, and that was always a concern that we had. You know, anytime you plan an event, you want to try and have a plan B. Well, we didn't have a plan B, and we really couldn't. But now we do, and we had to deal with the heat and with the wind, and now we can deal with nice air-conditioned weather inside.
They're great. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the event is catered by Hy-Vee, so it's going to be a barbecue. So we're going to have hamburgers and hot dogs and all the fixings that go along with that. But a big part of the event, and this is a fundraiser, really the only fundraiser that the Heart of Missouri chapter ourselves have. But you might tell us about the silent auction and how many items you've got, and so what some of those are. And
Well, actually, we brought a couple of items here today. We have a Matty Mock signed MU football donated by Central Bank. The starting bid is at $100. Then we also have the Ping driver with trajectory turning technology donated by Meadow Lake Acres Country Club, and the starting bid is $250.
now that particular driver, and being a golfer, I know, runs for about $500. That's
Right.
half price.
Right, it's wonderful. And we're hoping to go over the $500 mark.
And I think that's a key point. I think when people go, this is a fundraiser, and when people come to an event like that, it's not time to come and look for a bargain, is it?
No.
No.
Not at all. And we have several other items too. You know, we have concealed weapons classes, climbing party at the Y, which 12 people can participate in, 2 MU tickets with parking for the home game versus Central Florida. We have lots of gift baskets, gift certificates, 4 handcrafted quilts of different sizes, and someone donated those, and they're just beautiful.
The Missouri River Quilt Guild donated those and for this year, and they're already planning a nice quilt for next year. They're very excited to partner with us, which is great.
Are there any unusual items that you've got on there?
I wouldn't say unusual, but there's certainly some extraordinary items that we have this year. Janelle and Jim Schulte so graciously donated a trip to Branson at Big Cedar, October 31st through November 3rd, November 3rd, I believe. And it's a cabin. It's a two bedroom, 2 bath, kitchen, dining room, and a porch, a fireplace, everything. And there's so many activities going on. It's a great time of season. You got Halloween activities going on and many other things that are going on at Branson. So it's a wonderful auction item.
It is. It is.
And we also have another one. It's a 7 days in a 4-star Shenandoah Valley Canadian cabin donated by Hank Stratman. And we're going to start that bid at $300, which I thought was really cheap. Because 7 days in a log cabin out in the Shenandoah Valley, how beautiful. I mean, it would be a great item.
Oh, and we've seen pictures of that, and it is a great place.
Yes, we
And
have.
Hank also is one of our board members and a big supporter of the Red Cross as well.
Yes, he is.
So we've talked about, are there any other items you want to visit about, or is there any appeal you want to make any of our audience that might be able to help out?
Just come and bid on our wonderful auction items. We'll have probably nearly 50 by the time the event comes around, nearly 50 items that will be able for anyone to bid on. You don't have to be invited to this event. Just please come and share the evening with us and our local heroes.
And the event starts at 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
And then that evening, we're also going to have, we'll be passing out the awards, but let's talk about, just for a few minutes, talk about Lifesaver. I know Kristi talked about it a little bit earlier in her segment, but let's go through kind of what Lifesavers and how we got started with this and what that means to the community and to the Heart of Missouri chapter.
Well, it's not just our local community here. The Heart of Missouri chapter covers 21 counties, all the way up from Sheridan County down to Phelps and Pulaski. And we asked for nominations through all of our counties, and our committee did a great job in really getting that awareness out there and getting those nomination forms out there. So many of our heroes that we will be honoring that evening are from many of those different counties. One from Fort Leonard Wood, others, Columbia, different areas. So we're just really excited to bring them to Jefferson City and honor them for their
Well,
great
I know that
acts.
your committee has been responsible for helping pick who those award winners are. And I know that I've been kind of hands-off this year and let you all kind of run the ship. But one of the things that that I noticed when we had that was trying to pick out who that winner is. And it's kind of like a baby
tough.
contest,
That is really difficult, and we had some terrific people that were nominated this year, and it was just so difficult to decide, well, because of this and because of this. But I think we've chosen some fabulous people. They are really good
Absolutely.
people to honor. Yeah.
And we're so grateful to have a wonderful committee to help out with that process.
And how many people do you have on your committee?
I think we have 11 or so this year. We have Dee Dee Shelton and Kathy Crow, who are co-chairing this year as well. We have Debbie here, Ann Locke, Sharon Knott, Kristi Harper, who was sitting here earlier, John Marsh, Bill Lubert, Bill Farr, Holly Jacqueline, and Janelle Schulte and Christian Dreer. So a great committee.
You got a wonderful committee, and they all and you've required them to really work hard, Brittany.
Oh, I have. Yes.
I sent out emails and had some of the people take certain groups or areas within Jefferson City and trying to get donations, and they've really stepped up to the plate. They've done an excellent job, and we're very proud.
I know that Brittany said we cover 21 counties in the Heart of Missouri chapter, and that we're trying to engage all of those counties and really with the award winners. I think that they are reflective of who we are in the Heart of Missouri chapter. But what are some of the things you're doing to try and get them to come to the event and to be here?
Letting them know how great of an event that it is, and that they should be here to share the experience and honor our neighbors who just did what they felt that was right. Of course, good food always helps, and that we will have.
Well, I think one thing you're doing differently this year, and I think it's because of the venue that we have at Capitol West Event Center. I think one of those things that you're able to do is have a separate room where all the heroes and those that are receiving the awards and the sponsors that are sponsoring them are going to have an opportunity to sit down and get to meet each other, and they can share their stories. And I think that's important for the sponsors as well, to let those award winners know, why am I doing this? And believe me, they're not doing it for the notoriety. They're doing it because of what comes from the heart and how they could feel like they could be a part of that as well. Do you have, and I know I told you, Brittany, I wouldn't ask you any questions that you didn't know, but do you have any of the award winners? Can you tell us who any of those award winners are? Or
yeah, we can perhaps. What category would you like, Dave?
Okay. The Youth Award, for the last 2 years, the Youth Award has been won by a youth in Mexico, Missouri, and so I told those folks up in Audrain County, I don't know what kind of water they're drinking or feeding their kids, but they're putting out some really wonderful kids there. So let's talk about the Youth Award.
The Youth Award this year will go to Desiree Curtis. I can tell you she's not from Mexico, but she's a great community member. She's very active from what I understand. She's a junior fireman or fire lady. I'm not sure the correct term. But yeah, Desiree Curtis.
Well, and I think that's, I mean, that speaks volumes. She's 17 years old, is that right? 16 years old?
17. I'm not.
And already be on the
sure.
volunteer fire department and be a very active part of it. And I know from what we've heard from her chief that anything that they ask her to do, she's always the first one there and is helping. But one other award winner that I want to talk about that's also a youth is our blood services. And she actually serves as one of our junior board members.
She does, and her term will be ending this year, and she'll be going off to college. That is Kara Waymeyer, and she's with Calvary Lutheran School, and she has been very instrumental for several years with their blood drives and giving blood herself. She's very active and very, very deserving of this award. Well,
and Calvary Lutheran is a wonderful partner for blood services as well. I mean, they do a number of blood drives over there each year, and as part of that, Kara has been, well, she's a superstar. I mean, she's been involved in so many things over there at Calvary Lutheran. So, now let's talk just very briefly about the Fireman Lifesaver Award.
Sure. Lieutenant Bruce Britt is the award winner this year. His wife, Lee Britt, will be receiving that award on his behalf this year.
And for those of you that read in the news that Lieutenant Britt was the fireman that lost his life over in Columbia, and when the walkway collapsed on him. But and that really was we had a number of excellent nominees that came in for that, but that just stood head and shoulders above everything else, and so I think that means so much. And then finally, let's talk about the law enforcement. We've got a few more, but let's just talk about our law enforcement award winner.
Absolutely, very powerful story. If you do come to the event, bring tissues. I'll try and have some there for you. Jason Cedarwall and Brad King were called onto a scene where the victim was trapped in her vehicle and the car had caught on fire, and those two police officers just stayed with her through the entire event and used their fire extinguishers to keep the fire from her. That wasn't 100% successful, but she's here today.
Well, I think that one of the significant things that about that particular story, and maybe it shouldn't be, but that one of the police officers that was on that scene is 7 feet 1 inches tall, and he climbed through the back window to be able to be with this lady.
And he put his own life at risk. I mean, it's not very often.
Beyond the call of duty, absolutely.
Way beyond the call. And I understand she might be present.
It's very possible. You'll have to come and see.
Well, and that's really what we try to do from year to year. We invite our heroes that we had from last year and the year before, and ask them to come and to be present and to share in those stories. And when we can have the person that nominated those officers or nominated that person, that hero, to have them there and come up and to share their story, you're right. I've got chills right now just thinking about what that's been, because I've seen that not only here in Jefferson City but also in St. Louis with their award, their Lifesaver Awards that they have there. So, wrapping this up, tell us one more time about all the logistics about this and where it is and
sure. Well, how
they can get tickets and all.
Yeah, it's at Capitol West Christian Event Center. It starts at 5 p.m. You can get tickets either by going online to redcross.org/HOM or calling our office, stopping by our office, contacting any of the committee members that I had mentioned, or just coming to the event and purchasing tickets then.
And there'll be the tickets for the event will be the same price at the door as they are in advance.
Yes.
Okay. And is there a break? Is $20 per ticket, and then
$5 for 10 and under. Children 10 and under.
And it is a family-friendly event, and we invite you to bring your kids, your grandkids, and just come out and share this evening with these people that have done so much for our community and done so much for the communities that they live in. And ladies, thank you so much for being a part of this, and Brittany, thank you for taking this on. Debbie, thank you for being on our board of directors again and coming back, and especially for heading up this part of it, because this is is really key to our success in being able to pull in those kind of items. So thank you all for being on the show today.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for joining us on this edition of Meet the Red Cross. If you would like to be a volunteer and to serve those people that we've been talking about today, we would invite you to give us a call there at the office, and Brittany would be the person for you to talk with. And we can tell you how you can become engaged and how you can make a difference in so many people's lives and make a difference in your community. And you can stop by our office at 431 East McCarty Street, or you can call us at 573-635-1132, and we'd be glad to give you that information. And we hope to see you on June 24th at 5 o'clock at the Capital West Event Center. And for those of you that may not know where that is, that used to be Great Central Lumber. So we invite you to come out that evening. So until next time, thank you for being with us on Meet the Red Cross.